A warm welcome to Disky Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Dstv Premiership action as Kaizer Chiefs have just beaten Maritzburg United 3-0. So, on today's episode then, we're going to have a tactical post-match analysis of Kaizer Chiefs versus Maritzburg United, which ended 3-0 in favor of Kaizer Chiefs. So, the red team will represent Kaizer Chiefs, and then the blue team will represent Maritzburg United. So, when you do have a look at Kaizer Chiefs coming up into this encounter then, they did line up with a 4-3-3, which at times would look somewhat of a 4-2-3-1, especially when Kosimpile Ngcobo came on in the second half. However, let's have a look at the personnel. So, in goals, they did start with Bruce. At left back, they did start with Frosla. As the left-sided centre-back, they started with Quinika. As the right-sided centre-back, they started with Ungezane. And then at right-back, we did see Solomons come in. And then within the heart of midfield, the three that they did start with Yusuf Mart, Matlo and Sitebe. However, within the second half, we did see Kosimpile Ngcobo come in because then Matlo did limp off with an injury. And then when you do have a look at the front three then, they did start with Dupree, Kama Biliat, and then Dolly off the right-hand side. So when you have a look at Kaizer Chiefs in possession of the ball, so what did they look like? So in possession of the ball then, what you did see from this Kaizer Chiefs side is that ball side. So whenever then the ball was on the right-hand side, what you would see is Solomons on the right-hand side would be looking to offer that width a lot of the times. And what then you would see from the other fullback is that the other fullback would look to tuck in. So Frosla would be looking to tuck in whenever the ball would be on the right-hand side with Solomons. So it would look somewhat of a 3-2-5 shape. Sometimes it looking somewhat of a 3-3-4 shape. But you would often see one of the midfielders then looking to add numbers, looking then to break in. On the left-hand side, if the ball was on the left-hand side, then you'd just see Frosla there, and then you'd see Solomons looking to tuck in. So when you do have a look at Kaizer Chiefs then, and how they played and what they did very well then, is how they look to press. Because I think in the evening, what they did very, very well is how they looked to press. And when then they did press, they did also profit from that. But how did they go about that? So when you do have a look at this Kaizer Chiefs side, they did look to press with a very narrow 4-3-3 is what they look to press like. So a lot of the times they did look to press like that. However, at times you would see one of the midfielders also then looking to go press. So sometimes then they did press with a 4-4-2. So either they pressed with a 4-3-3 or 4-4-2, very narrow with regards to both pressing schemes, as what they were trying to do then is ensure that this Maritzburg United side couldn't build up from the back. So with Maritzburg, they are a side that looked to build up from the back. So it was very key then that Kaizer Chiefs do look to press them and destabilize them within their build-up scheme. So whenever then Maritzburg United were looking to build up, this is what Kaizer Chiefs did very well. They forced errors, and that's how the first goal came about. So the first goal then does come from Maritzburg United being put under pressure. They go long. Kaizer Chiefs win the ball, and Maritzburg United, they do try to clear that ball, but they don't clear it very well. And when you also look at Makuma's body orientation was quite wrong. Ball goes in behind, and then Dupree is able then to finish off very, very well. The second goal then does also come from another situation where Kaizer Chiefs do look to set the trigger. So they do look to press. When they press really well. Makuma yet again, who's on the ball, he takes too long. Doesn't play a convincing pass to the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper has to come out. As he comes out, he parries the ball into the path of Keegan Dolly, who then comes and then is able to finish. So that is how then the goals came for Kaizer Chiefs. And then within the second half then, towards the end, we did see then Tutuzi Shabalala also come on. So with Tutuzi Shabalala coming on, what Kaizer Chiefs then did very well with regards to how they built up to that goal was Frosla playing that ball into Sikhota, who also came on. Sikhota turns very well. He does play that ball in behind the defensive line. Billiat picks it up, he plays it across into the corridor of uncertainty, and then you do have Umtutuzi Shabalala, who does tap in very well. Overall then, when you do have a look at this Kaizer Chiefs side with regards to how they played on the day, so I think Kaizer Chiefs were very good against Maritzburg United, especially considering then how disciplined they were without the ball. So it was always going to be very key then that they do manage the spaces in between the lines, laterally and vertically very well, especially considering that this Maritzburg United side are a side that look to build up from the back, penetrate through the center of the pitch with regards to those passes when they are looking for their midfield players. So what Kaizer Chiefs did very well on the night was ensure that tactically they were very, very organized and defensively as well. And whenever then Maritzburg looked to build up, Kaizer Chiefs really pressed them very well. And what I also then saw with Kaizer Chiefs on the evening is that they really look good with regards to their offensive transitions, as they've got a lot of speed. So whenever then they did pick up the ball and they did win the ball within their own half and they were looking then to transition offensively, they looked really good, as they do have the speed then of Dolly, Dupree and Billiat going in behind. And then when you do also have a look at the players then that stood out on the day, so within the heart of defense, I will say that Kunika had a very solid performance within the heart of defense, and I think this is a player then who's really doing well for Kaizer Chiefs and who's growing then to become such an influential figure for this Kaizer Chiefs side. Within the heart of midfield, the double pivot, especially in the second half of Sitebe and Mart, did very well. Also then when you consider that Mart was quite key then with regards to being the one to press Makume into making that error, and then Kaizer Chiefs scored, I think that Sitebe put in a very good shift, and I also think that Yusuf Mart was very impressive on the night within the heart of midfield, whether when he had the ball with regards to how then they were looking to ensure that they control the ball within the heart of midfield, how they'd circulate it, and whenever then he was looking to press high and ensure that he would apply that pressure within the heart of midfield. And then when you do have a look at it then, Kosimpile Ngobo, when he did come off the bench, he did come on then and he played as a 10. What I liked about him then was his positioning in between the lines with regards to how he was looking to position himself and ensure that he was able then to play those through balls, and also then how he was also able to penetrate into the final third, either with passes or with shots on target. And then also then when you consider that Dupree managed to get his goal as well. Overall then, I would say it was a very solid team performance by Kaizer Chiefs. Moving on then right along, let's have a look at Maritzburg United. So when you have a look at Maritzburg United, they came into this game off a back of a draw against the Kukune. They came into this game with a 3-4-3. So when you have a look at it then, in goals, they did start with Undlovu. As the right-sided centre-back, they did start with Undengane. And then as the central centre-back, they started with Makume. And then as the left-sided centre-back, they went with Keegan Ritchie. And then as the right wing back, they went with Theron. The double pivot within the heart of midfield, they did then start with Rowan Human and Given Mashiginya. As the left wing back, they did then start with Moani Sam. And then up front, they did start with Samu, Macheke, and Sokuna. But we also did see then that this Maritzburg United did make changes within the second half, because then the first half, they did very badly. So how then did Maritzburg United look when in possession of the ball with regards to their offensive scheme? So what Maritzburg United did then was to push both wing backs. And what you would see then from this Maritzburg United side was pretty much a 3-2-5 offensive scheme. Within the second half, it somewhat looked like a 3-1-6, because then they did start pushing numbers, looking then to get back into the game. However, Maritzburg really struggled to get back into the game. Overall then, when you do have a look at this Maritzburg United side, I think that they were quite poor with regards to their application within the first half, especially then when you play against a team that is looking to press you right high up. So when you play against a team that's looking to press you, it is very key then to ensure that you're able to bypass the first line of press and then look to play from the second line, because it doesn't help to force the agenda with regards to building up from the back if you can see that the opposition are very good with regards to how they're looking to press you. And when you then have a look at this Maritzburg United side, without the ball, what you would see is that they would go pretty much to a back five. So what you would see is that they'd go to somewhat of that shape, which is a 5-2-3. At times, it can look somewhat of a 5-4-1. At times, you would see a 5-3-2 with regards to a defensive scheme. But when you do have a look at this Maritzburg United side, I think then it was, overall, it was a poor display with regards to their application. Yes, there were spells and moments within the game where they looked really comfortable in possession of the ball with regards to how they were progressing it, how they'd work it wide and look to get those balls into the box. I just think that they didn't do that enough consistently throughout the game, and they were quite poor then with regards to their build-up schemes. When you do have a look at this Maritzburg United side, a player that did stand out for me and I think had a good performance down the left-hand side was Bongani Sam, with regards then to how he was looking to offer the width on the left-hand side. At times, he was able to play very good balls into the box, and also then when you consider that this is a player who is on loan currently from Orlando Pirates, so he will be looking to impress. Overall then, it does end 3-0 in favor of Kaizer Chiefs at the F&B Stadium, as Kaizer Chiefs do walk away with all the 3 points within the Dstv Premiership. It is the Dstv Premiership, babize bonke. So, if you did enjoy this one, please do subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, and comment as well. Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Liolo. Signing out.